And that is the sort of rumblings over who on earth is going to be chosen to be godfather to the Duke of Westminster's new child, Cosima. Now, Hugh Grosvenor, of course, friends with both Prince William and Prince Harry for the longest time. He is godfather to one of each of their children. He's now got a sort of a difficult choice to make.
Yes, he has. I mean, he is godfather to Prince George, and we believe he's godfather to Prince Archie, although the Sussexes have never declared who the godparents are. In that situation, you got William was at the wedding. He was an usher at the wedding, so he had a job to do. Harry declined to turn up and had told Hugh Grosvenor that he wasn't coming, because of the friction it could have caused with him and his brother. That friction would still be there if he invited both of them to be godparents. It's going to be interesting to see how we get this one sorted. You would expect William will be definitely a godfather. I think Hugh would like to have Harry as a godfather because that's what you do. If you have a godfather from someone, then you will reciprocate. But it's going to be interesting to see if Harry would accept that situation and make a return to the UK for it. And of course, they're going to be standing next to his brother, at the font, as the baby gets baptised.
Do we know when the last time Prince Harry and Prince William actually met was? I mean, this feud runs deep.
It does. They certainly met at the unveiling of the Diana Memorial in the garden, and they were there. But then there was an attempt. I think it was, I can't remember, sometime after. It was either the Queen's funeral or someone else, maybe Prince Philip's funeral, where there was attempts to try to get them to talk together to each other. But look, Tom, nothing's going to solve this. Nothing's going to solve this battle. It's a bitter feud. It's not going to come to an end in any shape or form in the near future.
Not even a sort of co-godparenting role that could heal all things. Am I just... that's a flight of fantasy. Charles Ray, thanks so much for joining us and talking through.
Family, welcome back to the Royal Sussex Squad, the home where we tell the truth about Harry and Meghan, where we cut through the lies, the spin and the hypocrisy of the British tabloids and their royal mouthpieces. Now buckle up, because today we're diving into yet another desperate attempt by the royal establishment and its hangers-on to rewrite history, to whitewash Queen Camilla and to discredit Prince Harry's lived truth as told in Spare. So here's the story. A new book is being released by none other than Grant Harrold, the so-called royal butler, who worked for King Charles for about 7 years. His book, titled The Royal Butler, My Remarkable Life of Royal Service, is already being marketed as a rebuttal to Prince Harry's account of his experiences growing up in the royal family, particularly around his stepmother, Camilla. Now, isn't that interesting? Harry shares his truth, raw and unfiltered, in Spare. He lays bare the reality of how Camilla manoeuvred her way into the monarchy, how she rehabilitated her public image at the expense of Harry and William, and how her presence changed the family dynamic forever. But the moment Harry's truth threatens to dent the perfect queen narrative, out comes yet another so-called royal insider with happy memories to say, "Oh no, it wasn't like that. Harry must have been confused. Harry must have been imagining things." This is the same tired playbook. The palace and the press cannot stand the idea that Harry told his story on his own terms. So instead of engaging with the substance of what he said, they trot out former staffers, ex-butlers and so-called friends of the royals to present a fantasy version of events. Now let's break this down. Grant Harrold claims that in his experience, Harry, William, Charles and Camilla all got along so well that he was shocked when Harry described in Spare that he and William actually had complex feelings about their father marrying Camilla. Harry said very clearly, "We support you. We endorse Camilla. Just please don't marry her. Just be together, Pa." That's a son being honest. That's a son showing loyalty to his father, while still expressing deep pain about his mother's memory and the role Camilla played in it. Remember, this is Princess Diana we're talking about, a woman who was hounded to her death by the same press that now protects Camilla. a woman who publicly said that there were 3 people in her marriage. That wasn't Harry's invention. That wasn't spare fiction. That was Diana's truth. So how dare the palace and its orbit try to gaslight Harry into silence? How dare they use butlers and hangers-on to dismiss what Diana herself lived through and what her sons felt as children? Let's also remember something important. Prince Harry's memoir wasn't just gossip. It wasn't about embarrassing the family. It was about exposing the machine, the system that uses leaks, lies and manipulation to protect some royals while sacrificing others. And Camilla, as Harry himself wrote, was one of the architects of that system. Harry said it plain. Camilla played the long game. She wanted marriage, she wanted the crown, and to achieve that she had to rehabilitate her reputation in the British press. How did she do that? By cozying up to the tabloids, by trading stories, and by ensuring that negative attention was redirected toward more vulnerable royals. And who better than the young, popular and free-spirited Harry and Meghan once they came along? Now notice the timing of this so-called revelation. The book excerpt was conveniently published by The Telegraph, one of the royal rota's most reliable mouthpieces. They don't care about Harold's late-night tea visits with Camilla or about Charles being gentle. No. They care about undermining Harry. They care about discrediting Spare. But here's the problem. Harry's words in Spare resonate because they ring true. Millions of readers recognized the humanity in his story. They saw the vulnerability, the honesty and the pain of a man who grew up in an institution that routinely sacrificed his well-being for optics. You cannot erase that by digging up a butler who worked there for a few years and saying, "Well, I never saw any problems." Let's be real. How much of a royal child's inner life would a butler have seen anyway? Harry wasn't sitting down with staff to unpack his trauma. He wasn't telling the butler about his complex feelings over his father's second marriage. So for Harold to claim confusion is laughable. This is what the British press does. They elevate the voices of servants, neighbours and random royal insiders above the lived truth of the actual people involved. It's insulting, it's gaslighting, and it's another desperate attempt to silence Harry. And let's not forget the role Meghan plays in this bigger picture. The same people who are bending over backwards to whitewash Camilla's past are the ones who demonise Meghan daily. They will defend Camilla, the woman who had an affair with the heir to the throne while Diana was alive, but they will crucify Meghan for daring to be a self-made, successful black woman who married into that same family. The double standards are sickening. Camilla was once the most hated woman in Britain. The press couldn't stand her, the public didn't want her near the crown. But now, magically, she's Queen Camilla, and the rota is bending over backwards to say she's perfect, she's kind, she's gentle. Why? Because she plays the game. She feeds the beast. She gives the tabloids what they want. Meghan, on the other hand, refused to play that game. She refused to trade her soul to the press. She chose her dignity, her family, and her truth over appeasing a hateful racist media. That's why they smear her. That's why they elevate Camilla. It's not about character, it's about complicity. So family, here's what this really boils down to. Harry and Meghan are free. They no longer need the approval of palace staffers, former butlers or toxic tabloids. They don't need validation from the very system that tried to destroy them. And every time a book like this comes out, it only proves how powerful Harry's truth really was. Because if Spare wasn't impactful, if Harry's words didn't land, they wouldn't still be trying to discredit him nearly 2 years later. The monarchy is terrified of Harry and Meghan because they represent something the royal family has never stood for: honesty, humanity and independence. The firm is built on silence, secrecy and survival at all costs. Harry and Meghan are building their lives on openness, healing and service. That's why one side is constantly scheming, while the other side is thriving in California, raising their beautiful children and building a legacy through Archewell. So when you see these headlines about Camilla being vindicated or Harry being dismissed, remember the bigger picture. This isn't about a butler's memories. This is about an institution and a press machine that cannot handle the truth Harry revealed. They need him to be wrong, because if he's right, the whole facade of the monarchy begins to crumble. But the truth will always win. Harry lived it, Meghan lived it, Diana lived it, and no royal butler with a book deal is going to erase that. Prince Harry's claims about Queen Camilla firmly dismissed as details emerge. A new royal book has shed light on the Duke of Sussex's relationship with his stepmother, King Charles's former butler, claims he never saw any issues with Queen Camilla within the royal family, despite claims made by Prince Harry in spare. Grant Harrold's forthcoming book, The Royal Butler, My Remarkable Life of Royal Service, shares insight from his 7 years working for what he calls a very gentle Charles. When Mr. Harrold started, Charles, 76, and Camilla, 78, were still living apart, though they spent a lot of time together. In an excerpt published via The Telegraph, Mr. Harrold wrote, "There was no police protection or anything. I remember one time turning up at her house at night. He asked me to take something to her." Prince Harry's claims about Queen Camilla, firmly dismissed as details, emerge vertical, bar Getty. "I remember getting there and she opened the window upstairs and looked down and went, 'Who's there?' I went, 'It's Grant.' She said, 'Grant? What the hell are you doing here at this time?'" Mr. Harrold had to deliver an item to Camilla, who offered him tea at nearly 10 p.m. Charles and Camilla married nearly a decade after the King's 1996 divorce from Princess Diana. Mr. Harrold described Charles as the happiest he had ever seen him on their April 2005 wedding day. At the end of the festivities, Charles and Camilla were catching a flight to head straight to Birkhall on the Balmoral estate, he wrote. "We all went outside to wave them off and laughed as we saw William and Harry had decorated their car with 'Just Married.' As they drove off through the arches to cheers, the boys raced after the car. Mr. Harrold's memories of William, 43, and Harry, 40, reacting to the wedding contrast with the Duke of Sussex's account in his memoir. Harry wrote in 2023's Spare that he and William had complex feelings about Camilla joining the royal family. "We support you," we said. "We endorse Camilla," we said. "Just please don't marry her. Just be together, Pa." He didn't answer, but she answered. "Straight away," Harry claimed. "Shortly after our private summits with her, she began to play the long game, a campaign aimed at marriage and eventually the crown, with Pa's blessing, we presumed." Prince Harry and Camilla during the Trooping the Colour in 2015 vertical bar Getty. Mr. Harrold said that Harry, William, Charles and Camilla got on so well, which made Harry's version of the family rift confusing to him. About Charles, specifically, Mr. Harrold said the now king was very calm and didn't once raise his voice while they worked together. "He works hard and he doesn't suffer fools. He gets on with everyone," Harrold wrote. "He does get perceived as out of touch, and he's not." The new book, The Royal Butler, My Remarkable Life of Royal Service, will be released next month, and that's where I'll leave it, family. The British tabloids may keep trying to silence Harry and Meghan, but we know the truth, and we will keep speaking it loud. If you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you never miss a Royal Sussex Squad breakdown. And if you'd like to support the channel, don't forget to tap that super thanks button to help us keep shining light on the truth and defending Harry and Meghan against the lies. Until next time, family, stay safe, stay blessed, and keep supporting the Duke and Duchess of Sussex.